Welcome back to another lesson on reconciling job, cost, and billing activity to the trial balance. As you may remember, we built this reconciliation up until this point, reconciling the billings for the period to the trial balance and the costs for the period to the corresponding trial balance accounts within an immaterial amount. So before we get into building the WIP schedule, the WIP report, and the completed contract schedule, we'll need to input some additional information, starting with the status of the job. This is crucial. You need to know which jobs are not substantially complete, still have quite a bit of cost to incur to complete, that are in progress by year end. So we assign those a 0. Now you can come up with your own numbering scheme. It doesn't matter. Uh, for our purposes, it's just 0, 1, 2. So 0 is open. 1 is a job that is complete. All costs have been incurred. You've billed it out completely, and it's done. You may have this punch list waiting, but you assume no additional costs are going to be incurred. You may have a few things that you want to touch up, a couple $1,000s incurred after year end, but if it's just little tidy up items, you can still consider it completed. So that would get a 1. A 2 is a job that was closed in the prior period that had some additional costs incurred in the current period. We don't want to show that job closing more than once. So what we do is typically label that as a 2, and I'll show you how that ends up in the completed contract schedule. So 0, 1, 2, and let's just, for the sake of our example, fill these numbers out. I'll add this one as a 2. As you know, jobs last longer than a year. So you may have a project that's been going on, whether it's open at year end or closed at year end, that overlapped fiscal years. So this first, second story addition, you may have had $10,000 in billings in the prior period, and you may have had $5,000 costs in the prior period. We're always looking for totals. As you remember, bill to date, cost to date. This is very important when we're using this information here. So that's what this column I for the build is, and the column Q is for the cost. Now, whenever you enter the 1 here for a closed job and you have, say, 12,000 in billings last year, and keep this simple, 6,000, you see this contract amount, contract cost auto-populate here. This is so you can just copy that information over to your completed contract schedule. It comes in handy. It'll calculate your gross profit, ending gross profit, as you're running along through this reconciliation. So this is a big step in the process. For now, we can ignore this. AJE, that's adjusting journal entry. It doesn't really apply to us in this situation. This is something I keep on my end when I'm building schedules for my client, that I have some non-attest journal entries I have to make along the way. But for our purposes, this is as far as we need to go with this information. So just remember this. I'll pull it up in the next lesson so we can go from this reconciliation to actually building those schedules. So thanks for tuning in. I'll see you in the next one.